There's been so much talk about the need for the president to focus on governance and see how, democracy can be deepened. Where we have issues surrounding the presidential election petitions, which has been brought to, a final conclusion by the Apex Court. What do you see as before the president, to resolve in terms of having all of these issues, even like in Rivers State, for instance, where we have functional speakers, people's lawmakers sitting at different places. I think it starts with, making an amendment on the constitution that we have as amended by 1999. Now, what do you see as the way forward for the president in resolving governance in all of this threat to deepen democracy?
The issues before the governor and the president is very direct. One, you are aware of the terrorizing nature of the Nigerian economy as of today. You are aware that the commoners can no longer breathe. You are aware that the cost of living in Nigeria is something else, has skyrocketed. The president and presidency must focus in that direction. I don't want to even believe it is because the matter was even in the court. That was the reason why the president have not been able to deliver. But I just believe.
But people saw it as a distraction.
It have never been a distraction. Even before, immediately the election was announced, he was one of those who said they should go to court. These are going to court. They should go to. It was not an issue. Let us not use that as an excuse for him. He had what it takes. Matter can even be in court, and you will deliver what you promised. There was a fundamental error from the president. I will continue to let Nigeria know.
The May 29 inaugural speech.
Yes, when you said the subsidy is gone, it's going to take Nigeria 50 years to get. What I need from the president now, one. He's aware. People who are close to him are also here. They cannot be to the president, and there is no distraction anymore. What do we need? We cannot continue every day, continue to lament, because I have been coming to this program for over years now. We keep on lamenting as if the book of Lamentation. Now let us be formulating policy for it. Now, what is the problem of this country? Let me just give only one solution. The problem of this country is that fuel. That is what drives the economy. As of today, what does the Nigerian president need to do now?
Energy.
Now is to focus on that energy. How do we do it? We have oil. The crude that is available in Nigeria, reporters in another 1,000 years, nothing will happen to it. What does that show to me? What the president will be doing now is to call our local refineries and say, well, which refineries are not working? Let's visit. The one that are sitting there, call them together, go to the NNPC, and what is it that called? I said, what we drill every day, OPEC have given us is 1.5 or 2.5. Locally now, we can add extra 500,000 barrel a day to it. And that one, we will use that one to be servicing our local refinery. You will be selling today in Naira, no longer in dollar. By the time you sell to our local refinery in Naira, they will not be, the petroleum product will not be coming now. There is no price, there is no way. I did a research that if that one is done, there is no how we will buy a liter more than 250.
We'll be joining Nadia Senogwa shortly.
If the president focus on that direction of looking inward, so that we can locally address this issue, we cannot continue we drill our crude oil and take it to international market. From there, we now go back to go and be buying refined product. Let us encourage the local refineries. If possible, the illegal refineries that have characterized our Niger Delta can also be legalized, because we're in an emergency situation. At that emergency situation, we need also an emergency response. At that emergency, the Nigerian government, under the leadership of Tinubu, must now look inward. For over the years, we have been taking crude outside.
Okay.
When we bring it down, there's no result. Let us try the local refineries.
Okay, let's also look at the impact, we could be having in terms of developing democracy in Nigeria. I see Abede Asenogwa with me, and the custodian of the law. Let's look at what the processes are like, because we understand vividly even where the Apex Court said that irrespective of the fact that the non-ability of INEC to quickly transmit election results to the IRF, went a long way to reduce the confidence of the public in the electoral umpire, and that can have a negative impact on democracy and the electoral process. But irrespective, he said, that does not, in any way invalidate the election results that are being declared. And of course, the presidential candidate of the APC that was being declared as the winner in the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, let's look at your bite, Ede Asenogwa, on how to improve the confidence of the electorate or the electoral process, having some form of transparency through our laws. I understand that you have what is called substantive law and procedural law. Now, if lawyers, I stand to be corrected anyway, even though I'm sitting, if lawyers are not able to, don't want to use the substantive, they go through the procedural to get the answers they want in the court. Now, what do you make of this, the substantive and the procedural? How do you explain these technicalities in judgments being made by the Apex Court?
Thank you very much, Philip. Well, of course, like you rightly said, there is a substantive law and a procedural law. The procedural law is aimed at meeting the substantive law or achieving.
Exactly.
Procedural simply refers to the procedure. You have to apply. First of all, sometimes you can have an example like the mode of commencement of action in an election petition. An election matter, you are required to commence that action by a petition. In the normal civil procedures, you can start with a bit of summons and community summons and all of that. So even if you have a very good case and the procedure says, oh, for instance, an election matter, you must file your election petition within 21 days. Filing it within after 21 days simply means that you have not commenced it procedurally, you have not commenced it correctly, and therefore the court will even be stopped from looking at the substantive case that you are supposed to bring before court. All of that, both of them complement each other towards achieving justice. It is only when sometimes we fall back on some of these minor technicalities, procedural, because even in the law, they tell you that some procedural defects can be regarded as mere irregularities which should not vitiate the substance of the matter. So it depends on the nature of the procedural irregularity that is involved, and the court will determine it that night. Now, coming to the judgment and its impact, well, for me, I think substantially the judgment came out well. The justices of the Supreme Court applied the law in some areas, even though I have my personal disagreement with some aspect of that judgment. But that is of no moment because the Supreme Court, being the apex law, the apex court in the land, they have spoken, and that remains the position of the law as of just now. For me, there are a lot of takeaways from that judgment. First, the fact that INEC, for me, I believe that what INEC has done to Nigerians is nothing but a scam, with the greatest respect to them. INEC made the people to believe and have confidence in the fact that, oh, this time around, results will be transmitted online and real time, and that because of that, the human interference, human influence of collation of results and manipulation of those results are most likely going to be eliminated. The only thing I think we were able to achieve is the fact that they introduced the BVAS system of accreditation, and then if, for instance, that was also an issue, I'm sure probably the court would have also said, well, okay, if you were able to do manual accreditation, it would still have sufficed. But you see, I next talk to the issue of BVAS for accreditation. And that was why, for the first time in the history of this country, well, look at the results. The results were substantially a reflection of the number of people that actually voted or that were qualified to vote. But the situation where before this time, where we were not using BVAS, well, look at the results that were being turned out from most of the states. This time around, they didn't get up to 1/3 or 1/10 of the results they normally bring out from those states, which clearly shows that accreditation and collation of the number of voters that we used to have was highly inflated by politicians. So the only benefit we probably have right now is the introduction of the BVAS. Now, for me, I think that INEC cannot tell us, should not be allowed to tell us that they are going to do online transmission of results and then the court will come and say, even if they didn't do it, it does not matter. I think it is time for us to begin to look at the issue of INEC and the laws that regulate them. We have this issue of, the election should not be vitiated or election should not be cancelled once there is substantial compliance. For me, that is a provision of the law, but it is causing more injustice to our electoral and democratic process. Now, you find that they just come, they say, oh, this was a defect, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and then you say, oh, well, there was substantial compliance. And because there was substantial compliance, the court says, oh, the election should stand. Secondly, the issue of substantial compliance should be removed completely. Should be removed completely. And that was part of what the Supreme Court relied on. To say, oh, even though they did not transmit, even though there was something wrong with the technology, the fact that there was physical and manual collation was good enough. And that INEC reserved the rights and the powers to determine what manner of collection we were going to do. But that was not the position that INEC gave to Nigerians before the election.
Okay, thank you.
So for
thank
me,
you.
the issue of substantial compliance,
Thank you. You articulated your point. Thank you.
It's either you have complied fully or that election should be cancelled.
Thank you, Eddie Asenogwa. Let's quickly take the reaction of Dan Osa Ogbegye over what you've said in 2 minutes as we wrap up. Do you agree to what Eddie Asenogwa said in that regard?
I agree with him. Okay. Maybe 75%.
Looking at the procedural and the substantive law.
Yes, I agree with him. He's my senior colleague. He's also my friend. I agree with him. But the only way I depart from him is that the Supreme Court was right in every way. Atiku and Obi's lawyer lost the case at the tribunal. There was no single witness. There was no single agent that they brought from the various polling units to prove that results were rigged. You know, after the election,
that's one of the grounds. That's one of the grounds.
Yes, after the election, Peter Obi boasted that he had a truckload of evidence to show that he won the election and that the result was rigged. But there was no single agent that he brought. You know, you must prove your case. It is not by grandstanding or going to the press to talk about you winning. You must show it, you must demonstrate it. Nigeria, we practice adversarial law. So you must be able to show to the court how you won and how you were rigged out.
Okay, but what do you see?
So at the Supreme Court level, you are not going to call fresh evidence.
Okay, but what do you see?
Must be at the tribunal.
What do you see from what played out as what should be part of the amendment going forward for the 1999 Constitution?
No, but if they propose that transmission in real time should be part of it, may so be. But that one is also very dangerous, because nowadays that we have people who will hack into the system and change results,
that will jeopardize us.
Yeah, it will jeopardize the whole thing.
Okay.
But I quickly want to say that my friend cannot be allowed to grandstand. He was one of those who brought Buhari, and Buhari was the one that messed up this country. Okay. So what Tinubu is doing,
you can't say Buhari.
Even if Tinubu,
you can't say Buhari was one of the ones that messed up. No, please retract your statement. Retract your statement, please.
I will not retract because I stand by it. I stand by it. Even if Tinubu is not complaining, but Tinubu is trying to fix the mess.
Okay, thank you. You've articulated your point.
And his candidate cost.
Okay.
And it's going to take some time.
Thank you, Dan Ogbegye. Thank you, Dan Ogbegye.
I can show you very quickly that in 2 years' time, you are going to remember me that I said that Tinubu is going to do
in
well.
20 seconds. In 20 seconds. Let's take your conclusion. In 20 seconds, please.
Yeah, like we have always said it, and then now the verdict has been given. Election petition is over, so it's now time for governance. And so I believe that it is time for the president to look inwards and actually look outwards also, and then appoint those more again who are willing to work and will be willing to give the people what they desire, and that's good governance.
All right,
that's it.
Thank you. Your conclusion on this, Royal Riverboat. Thanks for being part of this.
What we need strong institutions. We don't need strong men, and the president must also know that Nigerians are suffering under his word. He must develop, he must formulate, he must come up with policy that will make Nigerians will get working. We have never been so bad like this. I must tell you that. I'm happy that
you must take part of the blame.
And my friends have taken responsibility.
Yes, you must take part of the blame.
He said you're sharing the blame.
He's sharing the blame.
All of us are Nigeria.
He was one of those who brought Buhari in
this
2015.
This is the society.
And we fought, we quarreled about it.
We cannot continue to be doing this brave game.
Okay.
It's not a brave game.
Buhari came and brave PDP for 60
No, we must
years.
situate.
Thank you. We're going to say that in the next. We're going to look
same,
for another episode to ventilate all of this. Thanks very much, Rory Babo, for that. Let's take your concluding part in a few seconds.
I think most times we always push blame to centers and leaders. Even around us, we have a way of shunting ourselves, and that is what we never.
When you say around us, we are talking about the participants in the studio.
We can even look at it first, because we have a way of making sure we hit on ourselves unduly. But I think in our share, we leave the face of the system and the entirety to God, to help and direct all we do in this country.
Thank you very much, Colin Sosalai, for taking part to be part of this. And big thanks to you, Rory Babo. I mustn't forget this, that as the voice of the commoners, you've made your point on this. Self-appointed?
No.
Big thanks to you, Osa Ogbege, for taking our time in spite of your busy schedule. And of course, Joshua Bulagba, big thanks. And big thanks to Eddie Asenogwa. There's so much we can take onto this episode of TMI. Till we come your way again same time tomorrow. I am Philip Omo Gupo, and I'm saying stay away from trouble and bye for now.